Hello, welcome to this LINQ Insights video. My name's Neil and today we are going to be looking at the Sketch Summary Insight. We open the insights from the Insight bar on the right hand side of the application and Sketch Summary is the first one that appears. This is really the executive summary of the content that is in our canvas. So we've captured the digital twin of a current state process, for example, and we can use this insight to have the conversation with a decision maker so they're able to understand what this sketch is telling us from an overview perspective. So first off, we can see the number of information assets, actions, people and systems that have been captured. It's worth noting here that unique people are people, teams or roles that we've included in our sketch. We can also see the number of business outcomes that are supported, 10 in this case. So this is really defining the purpose for this sketch. We can see the total cost and the total time of doing all of the work that's been included in this sketch. So $6.89 million, 94.7 thousand hours of time being spent on work in this sketch. We also get an indication of automation. So this is calculated where we have a system automating an action, and in this case, 0%. So every task that's been performed inside this sketch is manual, it's done by somebody. We get to understand the highest information value that we have, so that's the value cascading happening through the sketch. In this case, it is a value of 100, and we have 6 occurrences of that, and some indication of the level of information reuse. So if a piece of information supports more than one action, that's information reuse. In this case, we have a maximum of 4 actions being supported from a piece of information, and the average reuse is 1.32. We also just get an indication of whether this sketch has been shared with anyone or published so that other people can see the content. The dots next to each of the cards allows us to access other content. So for example, if we did want to look at automation, we would be able to jump to the card in one of the other insights. So in this case, we would jump to the systems insight, which we'll look at later, and we would be able to see which systems are automated and manual. Some of the cards produce tables. So for example, here's the business outcome supported. And if we show the outcome list, we get a list built inside the insight. And each of these cards has this download button so we can export the data in Excel. So this is really card 1, just an overview. But you can see we have 5 cards in this insight. So let's quickly run through these. So the second card looks at the information inputs and outputs captured on the sketch. So we have 5 information inputs. So these are information entities which we've captured right at the beginning of the supply chain. So let's have a look at them. Again, we can build the table to see where those information assets are, and we can also go and select them on the canvas. So there's some interaction between the insight and the sketch content itself. So you can see here there are 5 information assets that have been highlighted on the sketch, which are our inputs. We've got paper maps up here in the top left-hand corner. We've got a permit request, and then paper request, fax, and email are 3 other inputs. We can also see the information outputs, which are supporting our business outcomes. So again, there's the table, which we might want to export, but we would also be able to select those on the canvas. So we can now identify the information assets that we are creating as a result of the work and the value that they are delivering to the organization. The third card looks at cost versus the value of the work that goes on by value link set. So a link set is the container of nodes that have the same value. There's an example in the sketch here. This is a link set for design flow, value 72. So these are represented by the bubbles. The size of the bubble is the number of nodes that exist within it. So that's a determination of the quantity of capture that's gone on, which could be an indication of the amount of work or the resources that are needed. So in this insight, we would be looking for bubbles in the top left-hand corner because they are high cost and lower value. So here's a great example, this as-built posted value link set. So if we click this, the table opens. You saw that the as-built posted was highlighted. We would now be able to jump to this value link set in the sketch, and then we could open it in order to get the detail behind the capture. So in this case, for this organization, the as-built posted process is costing $1.7 million. And you can see we have access to all of the detail about how that cost is produced. And in this case, it's an organization with lots of paper that's used as part of their process to ultimately create a QA design for an infrastructure build. This insight also lets us look at the information outputs and the cost of creating them against their value, remembering that value is now on a scale of 0 to 10, because that's how LINQ initially values information outputs. And also we have actions based on cost and value. So we're able to pivot around those three entities inside this insight to get some understanding of what's going on in the business. Here's a great outlier: print and distribute as-built maps, $1.7 million, very easily identified on this graph. The fourth card in this insight is by value link set. So we are now looking at all of the value link sets that we have captured, and we can sort this table by value, cost, and hours. And for each of these, we would be able to open the container and just see how many information, action, system, and people nodes have been captured, which outcomes are supported, and if any external organizations are involved in delivery of content within these link sets. And again, I can select them in order to find them. If we open this account creation link set valued 100, we can see the 6 information assets, the 5 actions, the 4 unique people, and the 4 unique systems that are being used. Some of these options are selectable, so I could select the 11 outputs that are supported by work that goes on in this value link set. You can see now they are selected in the graph, the sketch, and the context view has been enabled in the navigator, so we're able to see how they influence the content that we've captured inside our sketch. The final card is the selection summary. So this works on selected content in the sketch. So I might select just a value link set, for example, and you can see that this very simple insight is just showing us what we have selected: 10 information assets, 10 actions, 5 unique people, 6 systems, the costs $1.7 million, and the amount of time that it takes for work to be done in this part of the sketch. And there we have it. That's the sketch summary insight. As we mentioned, it's really about providing the exec level overview of the content that we have inside the sketch, and it's great for just formulating our overall knowledge of what's being captured. Please do watch the other insight videos that we're creating. There are 6 more, and of course you can find them on our YouTube channel. Thanks very much for listening. See you again soon.